It is 1:30 and time to call to order the meeting of the Oklahoma City Traffic and Transportation Commission. We'll start off with the call to order with a roll call. Commissioner Varnell. Here. Commissioner Littlefield. Here. Commissioner Long.
Present.
Commissioner Schuline. Here. Commissioner Wynn.
Here.
Commissioner George.
Yep.
Commissioner Cornett.
Here.
Thank you. We need a motion regarding the approval of the minutes of the March meeting. Is there a motion?
Move approval.
Move to approval by Commissioner George. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Second by Commissioner Long. Any discussion? Okay, could I have your votes, please? Are there any opposed? Okay, motion is passed.
Not yet.
Okay, motion is passed. Okay, moving on, we now go to reports from the Traffic Services Division.
All right, you've got our trio of monthly reports before you. There's been no change in the listing of traffic signals which were approved pending public funding. On the alternative speed abatement program status report, you can see the number of cushions that we've installed since first starting back in October of 2023. We've got one more cushion that's currently pending installation. That's on Blackwelder Avenue. As of the date of this report, there are $22,121 remaining of the original $50,000 allocated by the City Council in the way of matching funds for applicants. Next month, I'm going to include an additional report that's going to go along with this particular summary, and it will have a series of before and after studies that we've done on a number of the streets where the speed cushions have gone in. We'll pick locations where there have been, individual cushions, pairs of cushions on narrower roadways, roadways without curbs, and and more standard 26-foot wide residential streets. So it'll give the commission the ability to see what the before and after influences of speed cushions are on travel speeds.
Sir, will that include any feedback from the members of the neighborhood, or just strictly the results from the speed of the traffic?
At this point in time, we were strictly planning on presenting a speed analysis. If it's desire of the commission, it's always possible that we contact applicants. But I think that might be. Is that something that's wanted for the next meeting?
Any opinions on that from the commission? Is that something we want to look into? Is it are the speed bumps or the abatements that we are proposing and installing really what the neighborhood wound up wanting?
I
Yes.
personally think that's kind of a heavy lift for traffic services to get. If they maybe would reach out to the applicants and see if there's any testimonials they want to send in, that'd be great to hear. But other than that, I wouldn't say a canvassing of trying to get information would be good.
So basically, it'd be helpful, but let's not burn a lot of time on it. Okay. Everybody in agreement with that?
I'd mentioned last meeting that my neighborhood is about to apply for speed humps. Should I wait for that information before I send in my application, Stuart?
Considering the cost of the application doesn't, there's no application fee that goes along with it, it's up to you. I mean, at least if you get it in, then it's moving forward. Otherwise, you're just, it just depends on what the urgency is for, as far as your neighborhood goes. If they think that they want to get it in sooner, then you might want to just go ahead and proceed with the application, because you can always decide to amend it or go a different direction.
Okay, thank you.
Well, and I will add one other thing. In the case of your particular neighborhood, these will be the widest streets that we would put speed cushions on. So we won't really have anything to compare against at this point in time.
Any other questions for Mr. Chai? Comments? Anything from legal? Okay, we'll move on to the consent docket, which we have nothing that is on the docket today. So we will move on to item 5A, request from Angela Wyatt to change the speed limit on Cimarron Road between number 1 Interstate Highway 40 and Northwest 10th Street from 40 miles per hour to 45. Item 2, Northwest 10th Street from Southwest 74th Street, which is State Highway 152, from 35 miles an hour to 45 miles an hour. And item 3, Northwest 36th Street, which is also Highway 66 and Interstate Highway 40, from 40 miles an hour to 45 miles per hour. Is there anyone here to speak on item 5A? Yes, sir. If you would, please come up, state your name, address, and you have 5 minutes to speak.
Hello, my name is Glenn Hippis. I currently live at 10701 Northwest 38th Street, but I have property on 1318 South Cimarron Road. I have positive feedback for the change of speed limit, but also I have concerns. Between the intersection of Southwest 15th and Reno, the roadway is currently only 19 foot wide. The base material has eroded horribly. There are massive potholes. People are actually driving onto the right-of-way to avoid potholes, become with head-on traffic, that I would really like to see if that could be fixed before speed limit is increased because of dangers. The other thing is there is no centerline striping from Southwest 15th Street all the way to I-40. There's no markings, no edgeline markings, no centerline markings that nobody can tell where they need to be. There's also a bridge located between Reno and Northwest 10th Street that I went out and physically measured from guardrail face to guardrail face. It is also 19 feet. No delineation. There are some object markers marking the edges of the bridge, but nothing actually on the guardrail. Whether or not some guardrail delineation could be added, and then signs indicating one-lane bridge ahead, because there's no way 2 cars can pass on a 19-foot wide. In traffic, we have to maintain a minimum of 10-foot driving lanes for traffic to go through, and like I said, at 19 feet, that's just impossible to do. My neighbor across the street is a fairly new house built about 1.5 years ago, has already lost their mailbox twice from being hit by vehicles. I'm assuming at nighttime or whatever, either A, dodging potholes, or could be close to the right-of-way. I don't know what the distance is for a brick mailbox, how close it could be to the roadway, but I know he has lost that. Other than that, that's about what I have. Appreciate your time and listening to me.
Okay, thank you. Report from traffic.
All right, when we contacted the applicant, she was unable to attend this meeting today. You've got our staff comments before you. With respect to the to roadway conditions, we will pass on reports to our Public Works Department regarding the roadway repairs. As far as getting pavement markings placed, we are also in the process right now of restoring a painting truck in our pavement marking section of traffic operations. And some of the first projects that we will be rolling out and doing this year will be rural arterial roadways. So we'll be putting center line markings and edge line markings on the rural arterials. With respect to our speed studies, we've got a number of them throughout this particular report. When we looked at Cimarron Road with respect to the NCHRP Research Report 966, which has a posted speed limit setting procedure and tool, which is a document that was published in 2022, that particular publication suggested use of a speed limit as high as 55 miles an hour on this particular roadway. It's not to say the roadway should get it, but it's just saying that it could be as high as. When we analyzed the roadway using the Bella Light model, it came up with a credible speed limit for the corridor of at least 43 miles per hour. So on this particular section, on the 8 miles of Cimarron Road that we're talking about, basically from Northwest 36th Street, which is State Highway 66, as far south as Southwest 74th or State Highway 152, our averaged 50th and 85th percentile speeds were typically in the neighborhood of 40 and 45 miles an hour to 50 miles an hour. With respect to crash experience on the corridor, in the past 3 years from 2021 through 2023, there have been 2 collisions recorded corridor-wide. So our findings are that the corridor itself will support a higher speed, as is evidenced by what drivers are currently doing on it. So action on this particular matter will be at the discretion of the commission. I'm happy to answer any questions you might have about the application.
Okay, thank you. Is there a motion concerning item 5A?
I'd like to ask a question. The items that the gentleman brought up here, pavement markings, do we have a time frame of when some of that stuff may be?
No, I can't give you a timeline on that right now. The reason for that is because the pavement marking truck that we're using, that we're going to set up to use for this process, it has been basically rebuilt since this past winter.
Yes,
and so the crew that I have working on it is right now running it through field testing. I mean, they'll be taking out, actually applying paint on some roadways which are currently closed. And so once they're in a position where they can go out and they know they're going to put down a quality product, then we'll be out. So I would imagine at the latest it'd be this summer.
And what about the pothole repairs?
That I have to turn into Public Works.
Okay.
Yeah, because I know that, and I'll have to check and see whether there are any other sections of Cimarron Road due for resurfacing, because I know from 15th Street south, it has been resurfaced, but I know from the north of there's not been any work done, not for quite some time.
Commissioner Varnell, did you have something?
And what's the speed limit north of 36th Street into Yukon?
North of 36th Street, that's Yukon. I don't believe they've got it posted. It's probably in the neighborhood of 25. However, you know, it's not possible to continue straight across on Cimarron Road without stopping at 36th Street because it is a state highway.
Thank you.
And that section of Cimarron Road also dead ends.
Okay, thank you.
Is there any possibility that we could move to approve, but with the idea that the speed changes, the speed adjustments don't increase until we have markings? Or is that something that we can even state?
Well, the speed limit change is only subject to resolution by the commission. So if it's the commission's desire not to see any new speed limit signs go up until such time that we've at least got the roadway painted, we can hold on issuing service requests for that. Now, the portion that's probably where it's been remarked and it's been resurfaced, we can go ahead and get signs up on that, but on the northern section, north of 15th Street, we can hold on that until we've got it marked. So we will just make pavement markings and signs contingent upon that. And it should not be an issue because, you know, the speed limit change isn't more than 10 miles an hour, so it's perfectly legal to do.
But I would mention, though, that even though, and I agree with where you're coming from, but if you, according to the reports, people are already driving this now.
Yep.
So while I understand your concerns, it's happening now, no matter, you know, whether we approve it today or put it off till it's in. So, I mean, I'm not sure, while I understand the point, I'm not sure that this is really what we need to do as far as moving forward. Just come up, if you would.
They drive quickly through there as it is now. I am part owner of a traffic control company, Action Safe Supply, and I have personally put out a radar speed trailer to try and slow people down because of, like I said, the potholes are quite large in that area.
Have you heard about our
So-
ASAP program?
So just trying to help them out. Like I said, I have no objection to going south of 15th Street. Yes, it looks perfectly fine. The traffic can take that. It's just a concern in that area there.
Right.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Is there a motion concerning item 5A?
I'm going to make a motion to approve 5A.
Okay, we have a motion by Commissioner Long. Is there a second?
Second?
Second by Commissioner George. Any further discussion? Would we have your votes, please? It has been passed unanimously. Thank you. Okay, we're moving on to item 5B. David Miller, and Mr. Miller is not here today and has asked that it be moved to next month's agenda. Do we have a motion to that effect?
Move to defer?
Motion by Commissioner Wynn. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Schuline. Any discussion? Could we have your votes, please? Motion has been passed unanimously. We will move on to item 5C. This is a request for a traffic signal at Northwestern Avenue and Apache Drive. Is there anyone here to speak on this item 5C? Yes, if you would, step up to the podium. We need your name, address, and you have up to 5 minutes to speak.
My name is Kelly Porch. My address is 14400 Wilson Road. I, along with my neighbors, sent in the request for the traffic light right there at Apache due to the excessive speed. My concern with the report, it showed January 4th was the spot check, and I'm not sure if that's the only spot check that was done, so I'm a little confused because of the speed that we witnessed on that road. It didn't seem like this was very accurate. January 4th is kids are still out of school. People are still on vacation, so I don't know that that's an accurate representation of the amount of traffic and the speed that happens. We live just north of that intersection, so I'm driving it multiple times a day. So when I look at Penn, it seems a lot of traffic comes to Western to avoid all of the traffic lights. And so the amount of traffic that we're seeing on Western since we've been there in the last 9 years is obviously increased. Morning traffic isn't as bad because it's so backed up from Memorial all the way to 142nd. So the speed isn't a huge concern, but the concern is children driving out of those neighborhoods, driving to school and on the bus, turning to go north to Edmond schools because it is an Edmond school district. So that's my big concern, and my only question was if that was the only spot check. I don't think that was really an accurate representation, so, thank you. And just one more point, I've said it last time I was here, you guys are the most efficient government entity I've ever dealt with. It's been such an easy process, so I want to thank all of you again, and if we could get a little more police out there patrolling, that'd be nice too. Thanks.
Okay, thank you. And thanks for the kind comments. Is there anyone else here to speak on this item 5C? Yes.
Come speak.
Yes. Please step forward to the podium. We need your name, address, and you have 5 minutes to speak.
Thank you. I'm Linda Luttrell, and I live at 1401 Choctaw Lane, Edmond, 73013. I am the president of the Redlands Neighborhood Association. We are a neighborhood of 256 single-home residencies, and I've been in that subdivision since 2000.
Yeah, Darvin Upshaw, and I'm at 13905 Osage Drive, and I'm the treasurer for the HOA.
So when we noticed the placard on the corner of Apache and Northwestern, it had a concern for us because it really didn't explain the situation. And I did call Mary, and she was able to give us the information. We attempted to speak to all of our residents. However, that went up like 4:30 on a Thursday. So we were not able to go one canvassing neighbor to neighbor to neighbor. We put it on our Facebook, and we also put our neighborhood signs up at every entrance into the Redlands. We did not receive a majority positive to put up a signal light at that corner. The main concern for the neighborhood is that there is a signal light at Heritage Plaza, which is just a short distance from Apache, and then you also have the signal light at Memorial. And we agree with the summaries that appear that it does not meet any of the MUTCO's 9 signalized traffic control criteria. So we agree with that. We wish we had more time to be able to canvass our neighborhood, and we did not have that time. Also, our neighbors are concerned about people turning in on Apache, making U-turns in order to make that right turn over to Starbucks or to Memorial. So on behalf of the Redlands neighborhood, we disagree with of putting a signal light at that intersection. Darvin?
Okay, well, I did get a number of requests from a number of the members that wanted it, so, but, you know, you have some that do and some that don't, so it would slow the traffic down. I think it would make it easier to get out on 141st if you had that light there.
Okay.
And at 141st is the entrance for the Northwestern Estates. So that might be something to look at also. But we do appreciate your support for us and your help for the community.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Anyone else? Mr. Chai?
All right, you've got our comments before you. I think what I'll do is I'll address Ms. Porch's concerns about the speed studies. The speed study we had done was done at the same time we were preparing a case for a left turn in and out restriction that was requested for a Starbucks business, which is located at the northwest corner of Western and Memorial. Okay, thanks, Amy. At that particular time, the intent of the speed study is to sample traffic flow. It doesn't have to necessarily be on a time when school is in session. We just need a typical spot speed study collects data for at least a period of an hour or at least 100 vehicles. So on any given typical weekday, the speed results we get are fairly indicative of what's ordinarily expected. In this particular case, the posted speed limit on Western Avenue's 45, our 50th percentile observed speed was 43 and our 85th was 47. During our study, we did get a speed as high as 58. As far as volumes go, we collected volume information in March. So school was back in session, so everything that we used to prepare the signal warrant analysis was done under ordinary traffic conditions as far as volumes and regular traffic. As far as our manual on uniform traffic control analysis, this particular intersection did not meet any criteria for considering the use of a traffic signal. It does not have a crash experience sufficient to meet the warrant 7 requirements, and it doesn't have a volume sufficient to meet either the 8-hour or the 4-hour warrants, and especially these warrants under reduced volume conditions, which is what you can do when the speed limit is posted. When the speed limit posted is higher than 40 miles an hour. So when under those conditions, rather than using basically the full flow traffic volumes that are observed, you can use something as low as 70% of the traffic volumes in order to try and meet some sort of warrant criteria to justify a traffic signal. But even under those conditions, this particular intersection does not currently meet any of the MUTCD warrants. One thing I will note is that as of beginning of this year, the latest edition of the manual, the 11th edition, became effective, I believe, in mid-January. So the analysis we performed was based on the newest manual conditions, and the newest manual allows actually greater flexibility, and it creates more opportunity for locations to meet warrant criteria for using signalized traffic control. If the commission votes to approve this particular intersection, staff would request that the approval include roadway widening for dedicated left turn lanes on both approaches of Northwestern Avenue, and ideally realignment of the private driveway approach opposite Apache Drive, because that particular driveway is offset about one lane to the north. And so from a geometric and operational standpoint, that driveway really does need to be adjusted to the south so that its lanes will line up with Apache. And beyond that, I'm happy to answer any questions you might have on the application.
I'd just like to add, I just want to add that I live on the northwest corner of 150th and Western, and there's already a traffic light between where they're asking and at 150th. There's a church on the east side right before the Glen Eagles neighborhood. So this picture isn't quite accurate.
Okay, thank you. Is there a motion regarding item 5C?
Yeah, I guess I'd move to disapprove the application.
Okay, there's a motion to disapprove the request from Commissioner George. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Wynn. Floor is open to discussion. Yes, Commissioner Littlefield.
We look at these sometimes, and looking at the neighborhood, the concern I have, given the fact that it looks like Northwest 138th Street has ingress and egress off Western, is that correct? Northwest 138 connects with Western.
Yes.
And then Northwest 138th Street to the west connects with, it looks like the service road for 344?
That's Memorial Road, yes.
That Memorial, excuse me, okay. And then what does 142nd Street do? Is that solely ingress and egress to Northwestern Estates, or does that also service this neighborhood?
That Northwest 142nd Street does have a gated entrance that runs into the neighborhood to the north, yes. But that, as far as on the particular graphic that's up on the screen before you, you can see that the Redlands neighborhood is highlighted in yellow because that is, and it's noted as being the maximum public street served area which can access Western Avenue via Apache Drive.
Okay.
So there are other means of access, but the neighborhood to the north, I believe, also has access to 150th Street.
See, and the reason why I appreciate that and what I'm getting ready to say is that if a turn signal were to be installed on Apache Drive, what probably would happen is that that would create a bigger problem for the neighborhood where everybody would gravitate towards that light for at least egress from the neighborhood. And that could become a real problem, increasing traffic to that one point of in and out compared to the current availability of other choices. I can perceive that being a negative result of a light there.
Any other comments? Okay, we have a motion by Commissioner George and seconded by Commissioner Wynn to disapprove the request. Your votes, please. I'm sorry? Yes.
No, she asked you if you're going to vote.
Oh, yes, did I not say that?
Yes, you did, all right. I thought you...
Yes. Okay. The request has been turned down. It has not been approved. Okay, thank you. Moving on to item 5.6, comments from citizens. Do we have anyone here to make any comments? Thank you. We'll move on to item 7, reports from and other items from the traffic commissioners. We'll start with Commissioner Varnell.
None for me, thanks.
Commissioner Littlefield.
Commissioner Varnell took up all my time last month, so I have nothing to say this month either.
We understand. Commissioner Commissioner Long.
No, I'm good. Thank you.
Okay. Commissioner Schuline.
Nothing, thank you, sir.
Commissioner Wynn.
Nothing, thank you.
Commissioner George.
I don't think so. I noticed that the arts is getting ready to start. When does that start? Arts Festival.
Yeah, that's going to
Thursday?
start on a Thursday this year.
And it ends
Yeah.
on Sunday, so it's just a
Yes.
4-day event?
Yes.
Yep. Everybody needs to get out to that.
Okay, that'll work. Commissioner Cornett.
No, thank you. I'm good.
Okay. Anything from?
No, sir, no report.
Okay. I would ask that, based on the reports that we saw on Western, that we get some patrols out there, because what I was hearing was that we have a hard time getting out because of the speed above the posted limit. So if we could get some observation out there, I think that would be good.
I'll make a note. I agree with her sentiment completely. I would love to have more officers out there patrolling around, so
Okay.
more the better.
Sounds good. Thank you. I have nothing to report. If there's nothing else on the agenda, then we are dismissed. Thank you.